Hello, kindergarten friends. Guess what Mrs. George has out today? I have another story box for you. So let's put some things in there today. Let's see. Ooh, I have a fork to go in the story box. I wonder what kind of story we could get that has a fork in it. And I have a pot that is full of pretend pasta. Pasta is another name for noodles. All right, a pot with noodles. Well, now it makes sense why we have a fork in there. I have some more characters that I'm going to put in the story. This is a character, and his name is Big Anthony. Big Anthony is going in the story box today. This is a character. She is called Strega Nona. Strega Nona is going in the story box today. All right, we know the rules. When we have a story box, we have to shake it up. Here we go. I'm going to pick the number 7 today. Count with me to 7. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's check and see if our story box works for us today. Let's think about what did we put in the story box? We put in a fork. Yep, that's right. We put in 2 characters, Strega Nona and Big Anthony. Oh, and don't forget that pot full of pasta. All right, let's see if it worked today. Oh, it did work again. We are so lucky. We have a new story in here today, and it is called Strega Nona. And we can tell by this here gold or silver medal that it's a Caldecott winner. Do you hear that bell going off? That means if we were regularly at school, you'd be able to go home. Here's our story, Strega Nona. This book is written by Tommy DePaula. In a town of Cabiria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady that everyone called Strega Nona, which means Grandma Witch. Although the people of the town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had any troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went, because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for girls who wanted husbands. And she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed some help to keep her little house and garden. So she put up a sign in the town square. Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," Strega Nona said, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes, and you must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her. You must fetch the water. For this I will give you 3 coins, and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, gracias," said Big Anthony. "The one thing you must do," said Strega Nona, "is the one thing you must never do," said Strega Nona, "is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see, yes," said Big Anthony. And so the days went by, and Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a big bed to sleep in next to the goat shed and food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled, and suddenly was filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Strega Nona sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day." "Oh, how wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." And Strega Nona called Big Anthony for supper. Too bad. Big Anthony didn't see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses to the magic pot. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked by itself? You better go confess to the priest, Big Anthony, they said. Such a lie. Big Anthony was angry. He didn't think that was a very good thing to be. I'll show them, he said to himself. Someday I'll get that pasta pot and make it cook. Then they'll be sorry. That day came sooner than even Big Anthony thought it would, because 2 days later Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, Anthony, I must go over the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep the house, weed the garden, feed the goat, and milk her, and for your lunch there's some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot. Oh, yes, yes, Strega Nona, said Big Anthony, but inside he was thinking, my chance has come. As soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside and pulled the pasta pot off the shelf and put it on the floor. Now, let's see if I can remember the words, said Big Anthony. And Big Anthony sang, Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup, boil enough to fill me up. And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill with pasta. Aha, said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square. He jumped on the fountain and shouted, Everyone, get some forks and plates and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Strega Nona's house. Big Anthony has made the pasta pot work. Of course, everyone laughed, but they ran home to get the forks and plates and platters and bowls. And sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priests and the sisters from the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings. The pot was never empty. When they all had their fill, Big Anthony sang, Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day. But at last he did not blow the 3 kisses. He went outside to the applause of a big crowd. Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to the compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling, until a sister from the convent said, Oh, Big Anthony, look! And the pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house, and it was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta kept pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat, but the pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well, and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. Stop! Yelled Big Anthony, but the pasta did not stop. If someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the window and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. Do something, Big Anthony, they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it didn't do any good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. We must protect our town from the pasta, shouted the mayor. Get the mattresses, the tables, the doors, anything, make a barricade. But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling, and the pasta kept coming. We are lost, said the people, and the priests and the sisters of the convent began praying. Our pasta will cover our town. And it certainly would have if Strega Nona had not come down the road, home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what happened. So she sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses. With a sputter, the pot stopped boiling, and the pasta came to a halt. Oh, Oh, gracias. Thank you, Strega Nona, the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. String him up, the men of the town shouted. Now wait, said Strega Nona. The punishment must fit the crime. And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it to Big Anthony. All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pot, Strega Nona said, and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So start eating. And he did. Poor Big Anthony. The end. Oh, I like Strega Nona and her books. So Big Anthony made a bad choice, didn't he? He didn't listen when Strega Nona was gone. Thanks for listening to our story.